Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well. In this video we're going to be talking about Opetaia versus Ellis Zorro, which is on the Day of Reckoning on the 23rd of December. That is the massive card in Saudi. I'll be doing a fight breakdown for almost all of those fights. There's one or two on there that I won't be covering, but most of the bigger ones throughout this week I'll be putting up fight predictions on there. Also in this video we're going to be talking about Opetaia vacating his belt. Somebody reached out to me in the comments section and wanted me to speak on about that because they were trying to interpret it as corruption, but it's actually not corruption for once. The governing bodies are actually just following their own rules. So I'll clear that up. Let's get into the video.
Boxing.
All right. As always, thank you very much to the subscribers. Peace and love to you, and gratitude to anybody new locked in. Welcome along. Let's start with this vacating the belt situation, okay? Opetaia vacates his IBF belt, which we all thought he was going to do. Now, the situation, let me run this back because I did make a video about it a few days ago. I'll leave the link up here. It goes into a bit more detail and it pulls up clips of Eddie Hearn, who I think is to blame. We're just going to blame the promoter. But I don't mean it in a bad way because I think he was just trying to do the best for his fighter. But it just came across a bit greedy, tried to push the boundaries a little bit, and the IBF were like, no. Basically, Marius Brutus wasn't ready. He was the mandatory, right? He put himself back in that position after losing to Opetaia in the first place. Put himself back. He's now the mandatory for the IBF, but he wasn't. You know, I think he got injured, something like that. He wasn't ready to fight. So the Jordan Thompson fight was allowed by the IBF. They said no problem, you can have this fight while Breedis heals up, something like that. I say something like that. That was it, but I just don't know the Breedis situation. IBF allowed this fight to go ahead, right? Then I think like Eddie Hearn basically just signed up to the Day of Reckoning, which by the way is a massive payday for Opetaia. So he's obviously, I think Hearn just set that fight up. He asked the IBF, this is absolutely true, it's in that video. They said no. He went along with the fight anyway, hoping that they might, you know, pull back and use common sense, as he put it. But at the end of the day, they're running a business, okay? They have the rules. They've already made one exemption for Opetaia to fight Thompson. They did that, and you know, Hearn wanted another one, basically, and they just said no. Yeah, we're going to strip the belt. I don't think that's unreasonable. Now, you know, it's unfortunate for Opetaia to lose his belt, but he is getting a massive payday. You know, he's getting I think it's like 400 or 500 grand for this Zorro fight. But overall, there's like a 2 or 3 fight deal or something like that, where it's about 2 mil. Now, that's life-changing money for a young fighter like that, who you know, is going to be in the game a long time. I made a film study about him. I'll leave the link up here as well, because check that out. I'll go into full detail about his style and about his attitude, because he wants all those belts. So a belt is, you know, as much as he wanted to collect all the cruiserweight belts, at the end of the day, he's gonna be in position to fight for them again. I think go and take your money, get some more experience, get your exposure to another demographic, and, you know, put on a great performance and beat Zorro in the best fashion you can. That's the best thing you can do. And, you know, I'm blaming Eddie Hearn. I don't really blame him that much because, like I said, I think he was just trying to squeeze the most out of the situation for his fighter. And IBF, look, we're constantly, you know, railing on the sanctioning bodies, rightfully so, because of their major corruption. And it is, you know, but this time this isn't. This is just the IBF putting their foot down and saying, no, we've got rules. We told you no exemption. We gave you one already. And the IBF, if you want to call them some of the one of the better organizations out of the 4, I'd say that they were up there. And this is, you know, a reason why. Well, they were just following their own rules. And because, you know, they said, and I said this in the video too, I was like, if you do bend the rules and let Hearn have this little thing, then another promoter down the line is going to start giving them a hard time. Well, you bent the rules here. And look, I'm not saying that hasn't happened before or it won't happen again, but, you know, you like to see them minimize that. Because, look, we've seen with the WBC just the hypocrisy, favoritism, corruption, you know, all of it. It's just out and it's just blatant. So that's my take on the IBF situation. As I said, the boxing scene did a link on it. The Breeders situation I'm not totally clear on, but it sounds like they were just doing what they were doing, and that was the business, their rules. So no issues with that. Let's talk about this fight. Now, Ellis Zorro, 17-0 with 7 knockouts. He is in for a rough night. He really is. Opetaia is a beast. He is unbelievably talented. Look, like I said, he's been boxing since he was a kid. And when you're boxing that long and you have all the skills and the talent as well, and the two things that really stand out to me that you can't really teach at all, you can't, are someone's chin and someone's heart. And in one punch, we found that out. Maybe if you're a hardcore Opetaia fan, you knew about that before. You probably did. But for those that didn't, like myself, one punch against Breeders, where that was a massive uppercut. It broke his jaw in 2 places. Apparently, it was in 2 places. I didn't know that until the other day. But massive uppercut. So he didn't necessarily wobble because he was trying to win the rest of the round. But that was a huge shot he could have gone down from. So chin check, heart check in the same punch, in the same fight. So having that there, developing your skills as a young fighter and getting groomed and working your way up and going to the Olympics and doing what you're supposed to do and having good parents by the sound of it who are really pushing him, but you know, like in a believing in their kids, you know what I mean? It's a beautiful story. And he is about to burst onto the scene even more, because once he gets into bigger fights, he wants to go up to heavyweight, he wants to take on those guys, his ambition is there. So you can't buy these things in boxing. And the heart and the chin, ambition, he's got an amazing style. He's got a very Eastern European, that bounce, I'll cover it in that film study. You know, he's got great reactions, he can counter punch, he's got a good arsenal of punches, he's got combination punches, and he's very quick, and his main line of attack is that quick pendulum bounce and his quick feet. He just strikes like a snake with that back left hand, which he loves to do. But you know, he's got a great right hook, check hook, he can reel off backhands. I mean, he's got every punch in the book. He's going to be a really hard fighter to beat. And I'm not picking Zorro to beat him. I don't think Zorro's going to last. Thing is with Zorro, right, he doesn't seem to have that much speed, doesn't seem to have that much power, doesn't seem to have that much confidence. His body language is a little lower than what you'd like to see. But he can counterpunch a little bit, and you know, he's going to have to use that basically to offset Opetaia a little bit and just try to slow the fight down, try to get some sneaky counter punches in, try to use a little bit of lateral movement. You don't want to stay in line. Ask Jordan Thompson about that. You know, you know, even you got to be careful when you attack Opetaia too, because he's just going to bounce back and then come back with that left hand, because he springs on it and he's so quick to strike. So I would be very cautious early on if I was Zorro, and I would try to counter punch, maybe with get off the line a little bit too, and maybe a check hook is probably a good shot to counter punch. Also, Opetaia does have a tendency, and again, I covered it in that film study, and this is a thing with when you pendulum step, right? If you're bouncing like that, and then you end the bounce, and there isn't a punch there, and you don't throw a punch, and you haven't tried to punch, there's a few split seconds where you can throw right hands. Breeders picked up on this, and he was landing that at will, and that not at will, but more than most punches. And that straight right hand, Thompson caught him with 2, and Opetaia leaves his head on the line a little bit. So a straight right for Zorro. I know I said a check hook, but that's just to slow him down, just to get off the line and just to frustrate him a little bit, man. If he's going backwards, Opetaia's following him and chasing him or whatever. Not chasing, but walking him down, trying to get shots off. Lateral movement and check hooks. Slow the pace of the fight down, and then if he can time Opetaia coming in, that backhand, that straight right hand or a sneaky overhand is his best bet. But Personally, I think this fight isn't going to go, it definitely won't go the distance. I'll be very surprised if it does. I think he's going to try and probably take out Zorro, make a statement. He's probably even more pissed off after vacating his belt. So, you know, he's going to want to make a name for himself, which he is already. But I think in this fight, my prediction is Jai Opetaia between rounds 6 and 8. TKO, something like that. Maybe a corner stoppage. Just, I don't know Zorro, how tough he is. I haven't watched loads of his fights. I know he beat Jose Burton and Dex Spellman, I think, but he's gonna be in the fight of his life on Saturday. Let me know your thoughts on this Opetaia fight, and if you know anything else about the belt situation, about the Breedis. Was he, like, you know, I didn't really follow his comeback up, but nonetheless, Opetaia will be back making, you know, more challenges and getting more belts. And as I said, I'll be doing a film video from all the Day of Reckoning fights. There's loads of them, so maybe I'll try and squeeze a couple in each video or something like that. But I'll get them out this week. I just made a 2023 highlight reel, and I'll leave the link up here for that. And that's it. I hope you guys have a great week. Peace and love. I'm out. Boxing on the Edge.
Boxing.
On the edge.